Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Defense of the Patients. I'm your host Cyphus. I'm sitting here with my co-host Roland.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm excited. He is sitting right here, right next to me, yep.
And today a very special guest. We've been hyping it up on Twitter. We're super excited to have him here. Pyrion Flax, welcome to the show, sir.
Hello.
He was so lively right before the recording.
You guys said the Slacks interview he was very happy and excited, so I just wanted to bring it back down to earth. If he does that, I'm not going to try and out-Slacks.
Oh,
okay.
No. The thing with Slacks is that he kind of flipped it on us. We're like, welcome to the show. We've got, SirActionSlacks. And he's like, yeah. So how's it going, .p? So what's new with you guys? Like, what are you guys doing?
He got super interrogative of us as
opposed
opposed
to... Wait a second, bro. Like, this is the other way around. The other way around.
He's the thing with Slacks is I was just thinking before the podcast. I was wondering what you guys were going to ask, and I thought you were going to ask, how'd you get started? And then I had this. I was thinking, well, people often ask that, and I've been thinking about not how I got started isn't really much of the point, but most people want to know, how can I get started? That's the main question that people are really asking when they ask it is, I want to do what you're doing because it looks like so much fun. So how do I do that? That's the real question.
And we have had shows on that, and that's awesome. Any insight on how to get started?
Right.
We've given our insight, which is struggle, slit your wrists, go to the doctor, get them sewed back up, and then just struggle some more, and then just keep doing it.
Well, the real advice, I think, and this is my layman's perspective, we've by no means made anything, worthy of note, really, but is just do it, right? I mean, if you're not out there doing it, then you can't make it doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Slacks' work rate, right, he sleeps for, I think it's about 5 minutes a fortnight, or 2 weeks, you guys, right? So he hardly sleeps. He works insanely hard.
Oh, he does.
He goes to every event he can, doing whatever he can. So, for instance, one of the things that he's done is, why the fuck are we just talking about Slacks, by the way? Jesus Christ.
Have no idea.
I can't help myself.
Dude,
he's
polarizing.
He's an enigma.
He's super polarizing. Yeah,
he's fascinating.
He is.
I mean, some people really hate what he does, which is a shame.
But that's great, to be hated. He's either absolutely hated or absolutely loved, which is actually a good thing,
But the thing is, if you talk to him about that, he loves it.
I know he does.
Shit on him. If people have a go at him and say, "Oh, he's the worst," or if they criticize him and it's a long essay, he replies to every time. And he's not apologetic. He's just goes right back and he's like, "This is the best stuff you can get. You can't make this up. No one's gonna give you this feedback the way these assholes do. That's the best."
I know.
He feeds them.
He's comfortable in his own skin, and that's something that not many people are. Even in day-to-day actions, walking into the grocery store, a lot of people aren't comfortable with who they are. And SirActionSlacks is that person that, I don't know if it's a facade or not, but he definitely seems extremely comfortable with who he is.
The way he is on camera is the way he is the whole time. And I don't mean that to say that he never shuts up and he's very annoying, but he is kind of very annoying. He doesn't never shut up. But I mean, he's like that. It's just who he is. So, and the thing is, he is completely fearless and he has no shame. He has no sense of, I'm going to look like an idiot. He wants to look like an idiot. That's his whole shtick. So when he goes out there and he interviews people on stage, and people some people go, "Oh my god, this is so awkward."
It's Dota. It should be serious. It should be serious.
Exactly right. I mean, I've dealt with that for 4 years, but he basically, because of that, he's fearless. So he will ask the questions that most people would not ask because they don't want to look like a tit, or they don't want the players to get angry with them. He relishes that. He wants it. The thing that people do often is they accuse him of being he's just a bunch of memes. But he doesn't really use memes. If you want to talk about the meme lord, that's OD Pixel. OD Pixel is the meme lord. Cinderin is the meme lord. Slacks is his own thing. And I love it. I think he's fantastic.
Enigmatic is a perfect way to describe him. And after the show's over, we'll send you his acceptance speech to winning year 1 of best episode. He said, basically paraphrasing, his mother left, never came back.
His father told him he'd never do anything with his life.
Yeah, his father told him he'd never do anything with his life, but when he came on Defense of the Patients, he showed them, basically. And this was all ad-lib, which is what I love about Slacks, is there's no preparation for what he's about to say.
He's a truly quick wit.
Yeah. He's a quick-witted motherfucker. And that's why I really, really wanted to get you on, because I remember Slacks, we were first getting into this whole podcasting thing, and Slacks was popular, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't top of our Dota like every single day,
Right.
super popular back then. Like he had his following. He had just quit his job, for instance, like
Yeah.
just barely quit his job, and he was doing shows with you. And kind of,
The Flax and Slacks shit show.
The Flax and Slacks.
We now do occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Well, I mean, you guys are both super busy. Getting Slacks for an interview now is really tough because it's like, yeah, Slacks is going to be in India from the 14th to the 15th. I think we can get an hour for you in the layover between him going to Jakarta after that. And it's just like, Jesus, like what happened to this guy? And it's,
it's what I mean, honestly, what happened, and I know you guys were asking, how do you get started? And I was thinking about this, and this is true of everybody who has, I mean, but for a start, me and Slacks and pretty much anybody in YouTube are actually in Dota, I should say, are pretty small fry compared to the big time YouTubers, right? Like if you look at people like Total Biscuit and Jesse Cox and Yogscast and those guys, and Day9 and all those guys, like they have millions of subscribers and they actually make a shitload of money just from YouTube videos, right? Like insane amounts of money. I'm talking millions.
Oh,
right?
Millions, and they're highly coveted. To get them at an event, I'm sure it comes with a hefty price tag.
Their appearance fees, forget about it.
Yeah,
I mean it's insane.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's like one event for some of those guys. That's a year's salary for most people.
I was around for Total Biscuits up. Like I mean, I was there. Like he was already popular once again, like Slacks. But this is when I was getting into StarCraft 2, and there's this guy that all of a sudden just rose from like. Day9 and his brother are casting and maybe Artosis, and then all of a sudden Total Biscuit is everywhere. And then he's starting a team.
He started out, he was new to StarCraft 2 at that point on the scene, but he'd been doing what he's been doing for years.
Oh, sure.
Like he was working with the Yogscast guys ages ago. And Jesse and Dodger and all those guys. So he's built up this kind of family around him of people that he works with. So how you get started, in my opinion, looking at all those guys, and I guess looking at the ultra successful guys is kind of a bad point. But if you look at what they did, they were either the first to do what they did, right, or they attached themselves to a very big game, or a game that started off small, had a scene that then grew, and people saw their stuff.
A niche market.
If you look at what I'm going to talk about my own experiences because. I'm not going to talk about how Total Biscuit got where he is because I don't know enough about it. But
he's coming on tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, I know he loves Dota, but he plays it, but he doesn't do a lot of videos about it because his audience is very different, right? People like to see either people being very good at a thing, or they watch my stuff and laugh because I'm very bad at a thing, right? So he can do whatever game he wants. Like he's reached that point. Whereas if you talk about the stuff I do Dota videos and they're reasonably successful. I do any other kind of stuff and it's just not successful. Like people don't really watch it. So if I'm not doing videos about Dota, people have no idea about the stuff I do. And they're like, who is this guy? And because there's already a ton of people doing that shit. So if a brand new game came out, you've got to be there first and you've got to actually make a name for yourself early on. Like when I started doing videos, there weren't loads of people making funny videos about Dota. Now there's a million people making funny videos about Dota. And if I tried to start now, I'd get absolutely nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
I don't know. I disagree with you there because what you bring to the table with your funny videos is you try and dumb yourself down, but what you're saying is actually really smart stuff. Like you talked about quantum mechanics in one of your videos. You talked about the double slit experiment in one of your videos where it's like, I'm going through a rigorous modern physics course and I see this video and I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. Like he's using the double slit experiment to describe something in Dota. Like that is unique. That is something
but anybody could do that. That's the thing. That's the difference.
Anybody that understands the double slit experience and plays Dota.
And I mean, there, and again, like I'll agree with Roland a little bit here. I do think that you bring something to the table that other people probably wouldn't bring. And admittedly, yes, you might have a harder time if you were starting out right now, but I don't think it would be impossible. I don't think that you would. I don't think. I think a certain type of person is required to do it. And again, like there's, I guess kind of the right word to describe what you do with Dota a lot of the time is satire. And there's always, as with all satire, there's a little bit of truth in it. Like even just the silencer video we just watched a bit ago.
That's how we got Pyrion Flax on. Is I superimposed myself on top of our Dota.
That's right.
It's the only way I'll ever get to the top of our Dota is by superimposing myself over a green screen in our Dota. And Pyrion just happened to be the #1 with this silencer video, and I put a defense of the patience tag right next to it.
I saw that. Yeah, that was
And somebody screenshotted it. Like I wasn't like doing that to like claim credit for your silencer video or anything like that. It was just like, hey guys, look, I made it to top our Dota. And
but that's the thing you got to bear in mind is that maybe half of the people watching a joke will not get it.
Yeah,
and will take it at face value. So like for instance, I put the silencer video out. I know all the things like, oh, just get a Manta Pyrion, just get a BKB. I'm like, yeah, I know, guys, that's not the point. Like, that's not the point. I know all these heroes can be beaten. I know there are ways to beat them, but the point is, it's about how angry you are when you're playing the game and losing, and you can't do anything about it, and you just blame the hero, right? That's the whole point. It's just this fucking PL, lads. We can't it's fucking heroes bullshit. I mean, that's it. Like, that's the whole point, is that it's about the rage that the average pubby 3 to 4K MMR player feels about the game just spiraling out of their control, and they have no idea what's going on or what to do, and they just blame the game, right? That's it.
Well, and I think to the point about satire, like, yeah, you encapsulate that truth in a really entertaining way.
My favorite was the recorder and like the horrible recorder and the horrible ukulele where it was like,
excuse me,
where it was just like this. That is what a bad game feels like, is listening to that horrible recorder and that horrible ukulele.
People were like, oh man, he really made me want silencer at the end of the video. I'm like, that's the point. That's the point. Like it ends with a song where you actually want silencer, and that's like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying my videos are some multi-layered, multi-dimensional comedy masterpiece. Oh, you just didn't the levels. There were so many levels, but it's just sometimes the jokes are really obvious and people don't get it, and that kind of makes me laugh. But, I mean, the most popular YouTube channels are the ones where people upload guides, the ones where people show people doing amazing things, like Noob from UA and Dota Cinema, or the ones where people fuck up. Like they love to watch people fuck up, like fails of the week and all those kinds of stuff. Any video that shows people making a terrible mistake, people love it.
Oh yeah,
so
because it makes you feel better, right? Like I think there's a little bit of like, they fucked up and I don't do that. I've never missed an arrow as Marana. I've never, or whatever. I've never hooked my teammate out of a thing on Pudge. Like, that's the reason we love to see people fail, because it makes us feel a little bit better about our shitty pubs ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
Schadenfreude, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, there is something I want to get into YouTube with you a little bit later on, but I want to continue on this, the road to success, because sure, there's interviews you've done on a number of podcasts that I'm sure asked who you are, where you're from, what you do, what's your background. Okay. And I think, it is valuable for people listening. I mean, we have a community that surrounds us that, I mean, these people want an opportunity to, do things as well. And, I mean, if you were to give, say, 2 sentences of advice, what would that be to the people listening? I know we've already kind of gotten into that, but if you had to give 2 sentences, what would you give them?
So what to help people get specifically into Dota, or pretty much any scene?
Well, just, a niche market. Like, let's say Dota. Okay. We're focusing on Dota. This is a pretty much a Dota show. If they want to get into Dota, let's hear from Pyrion Flax what he thinks you have to do in 2 sentences. 2 sentences.
I actually get asked this a lot by people who already have like channels and stuff, and they're trying to grow them. And I think the key is that you either need to do something that nobody else is doing, and that's extremely difficult. It doesn't matter if subsequently people copy you, but you need to come up with something that no one else is doing, a format or an approach. Like some people I'm going to put out a load of guides about how to play heroes because I'm like 6K and I'm really good. But no one's going to watch your guide when they could watch like PPD or Owie or someone put a guide out. Sure. So don't try and compete with other people doing the stuff that you want to do. I think if you presented them in a completely different way, a really unique way, that's one thing. So be original as much as you can be with your approach and your style and everything like that. And number 2, you have to be entertaining. Like, you have to be. Nobody's going to watch a video that's an hour long, you playing a game and occasionally mumbling into the mic about what you could have done or what you should have built. Because that's like every game. Like, could be playing Dota right now, right? And boil it down, like, be concise. 10 minutes is a really good length of time for a guide, I think. Just show some stuff. A full game, You're going to sit and watch a full game for some guy you don't know. Nobody's going to tune in for that.
No.
If it's someone that someone really knows, it's like, this was an amazing game. Hello, I'm pro player Miracle. Watch me get 70 kills. Everybody's going to watch that fucking video. Hi, I'm just some guy. Watch me get 20 kills and do well. No one's going to watch that video. No one. So you have to have an angle and an approach that draw people in.
Absolutely.
And edit your stuff, for the love of God.
Yeah,
edit it. Like I started off using Windows Live Movie Maker, which was a free program. That was like for like 2 years. It was Windows Live Movie Maker and Paint.
I bet you got good at it too. I bet you got really good at it.
Windows Live Movie Maker, I know people that still use it because they're like old school. It's like people that just stay on IRC and they're like, no, I don't need Discord or anything. I don't use Twitter. I just stay on IRC. That's it. I don't. It's perfect. There's no need to move on. I mean, Windows Live Movie Maker on Windows 7 and 8 was a good program. They ruined it. Sorry, on Windows 7 is a good program. Windows 8 they ruined it. And they pared down all the functionality, the many functionality.
You can't add echo anymore? What the fuck?
They actually did take out some key shit. I don't know why they did it, but it was like, oh my god, I can't use this anymore. I'm going to have to buy Adobe Premiere. God damn it. So, but I mean, just edit your stuff and just look at other videos and try and not copy them too much. Learn from them, but don't copy them. Like if you look at a lot of the animation stuff that people do, like stuff in Source Filmmaker, it's great. You might have one video, like one guy I know, he made a really good video. It was very big. Everybody loved it. It was shared everywhere. I saw it. I liked it. His next video completely tanked. And he was like, what the fuck is up? Like, why aren't people watching my video? Like, I had that one big video, so why aren't they watching the next one? And it's tough to build up an audience on one video. Like, you need to get known for something. And the problem is a lot of people started making very similar Source Filmmaker videos. So he fades into the noise of people doing the same thing.
Sure.
To the best of my knowledge, nobody out there is doing stuff the way Slacks does, and nobody out there is doing stuff in MS Paint, right? Where they just rant about a hero. So it's at least style that people can recognize. So you got to look for some style of your own.
Exactly.
Even if you don't, just experiment, mess around. You got to try stuff out. Like it just occurred to me because I was cheap and I just wanted to use Paint and Live Movie Maker and Windows Recorder. I was like, fuck it, I'll just do this. I'm not spending any fucking money on this. And I used my shitty webcam microphones, recorded and everything. And then if you do well from there, then you can start to expand.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's, I mean, you're talking about literally our first year where I had a Shure Blue 55 because I was in a band, and this is a microphone that is meant to be used on stage, okay?
Right.
This is a microphone that you, would sing into, and I loved this microphone, okay? It was about $150. It was a great microphone, and so our first episode, I'm like, all right, I'm going to set it up in the middle of the room, and we're all just going to kind of, when we want to talk, we're going to lean in toward the microphone, and then we're going to talk. And it was 3 of us all in a room, and fortunately, nobody can go back and find that episode because it's been archived for a very long time. But it started out that way, and what it started out with was we were like, Cyphus over here is like, podcast, like 70% of people listen to podcasts. I'm like, that's bullshit, dude. Podcast is maybe the most boring thing to listen to in the world. I was totally against it. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Cyphus then does some research and says, there aren't very many Dota 2 podcasts out there. I mean,
at least none that were regular,
and none that actually have release dates that are very frequent. And so it's like, okay, fine, we'll give it a try. And we recorded 7 minutes, and we all stood up, and we were like, basically bouncing around the room like we're badasses. We're like, yep, that was 7 minutes of fucking Dota original content coming straight out of that Shure Blue 55 right there. And that was probably when my ego was the biggest, was the first 7 minutes I recorded of this podcast. And then of course we did a whole 45-minute episode where I did like 352 cuts on the program that I use, where I took out every little and little weird breathing noise or an or a like or something like that. I would take everything out, and it was just like listening to that episode now, it sounds completely dysfunctional and fucked because 352 little minute mini seconds were cut out of it. But I mean, the drive was there to do it, to create this podcast, and then we each had mics, and that was a big innovation for us. We all had a microphone to talk into. And then, and then the story goes on. So it is about, start with Microsoft Paint, but you do need, I completely agree with you in that you need something that somebody else hasn't done. And even if somebody else has done it, we said we're noobs. I've played 10 hours of Dota. I'm going to start a Dota podcast.
The unique spin on it was, well, we'll be a noob podcast.
Yeah,
like,
surely there are more noobs than there are pro players. The pro players have to be the top 1%.
They definitely are.
And so we started that way, and we would give our MMR at the start of every episode, and it would usually be like, I'm at 1,300. I'm at 1,315. I'm at 1,200 now.
And now we're at like 2,000.
Yeah, now we're at like 2K, and we play a lot of Dota still. But yeah, no, we
still suck.
We found our niche, and then we just fucking went for it. And you know what? It's just been a 2-year grind where it's become my favorite hobby I've ever had. It's cooler than building like airplanes, like little fake airplanes.
Do you think enjoying what you're doing is kind of key to it as well?
Oh yeah, it's got. This started off for me as a hobby, and I still think of it that way because my main job is looking after my kids, and basically Mrs. F is the one who actually has a proper career and a job and stuff. Like if this ended for me tomorrow and someone was like, Pyrion, you're finished. We're taking a YouTube channel and you're not even allowed to play Dota anymore. I'll be like, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world. And it's not like there are lots of people on the scene whose entire career and
livelihood
and their rent, their livelihood depends on whether they get invited to events, whether they can make enough money from streaming, whether they make enough money from stuff like casting for big houses and stuff like that. Like that's living on the edge, and those guys really suffer when they don't get invited to an event. They're like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to pay the rent? So maybe they have to work part time, or they have to do stuff. It's difficult. It's really difficult, and a lot of people like Slacks took that leap to stop his job. If you have a job you absolutely hate and you're willing to commit the amount of time that he did, and I think what he realized was that he had something that people would recognize, and people always recognize his voice, his style, and stuff like that. And so if you're thinking, hey, I got 12,000 views on my YouTube video, I'm going to stop university and I'm going to leave my job and I'm just going to do this full time. For the love of God, do not, right? You can do that in your part-time. Once you start getting invited to events and you start making money and people, lots of people on the scene, then you might want to make a go of it the way Slacks did. But it's super risky.
It's still a big leap. It's huge.
It's such a leap. And it's such a temptation because
it is.
It feels like the oh my God, I want to do that so bad. And a lot of people are like, I know I could do it better than them. And they're like, here's my video. And you watch it and you think, this is terrible. Like you may know a lot about the game, but you're not funny, or you're not entertaining, or you don't talk well. You guys talk well, right? Like you talk well, and that's key for a podcast. If you guys, like I've done podcasts before where people are just like, and we are joined here, like it's like an NPR thing, they're like really quiet, kind of like, we're joined by Pyrion Flax.
Some people would prefer it if the podcast was that way.
I get called loquacious.
No, yippee dog.
A yippee dog. But the thing is it's like, hey, guess what? I'm doing an entertainment podcast, and you can go fuck yourself. Okay, that's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like, I could just.
If you're gonna throw out a go fuck yourself, I think that's good. That's telling the audience. That's putting them in their place.
That's right.
Yeah, no. This at the end of the day, this is a hobby, and just like you said, like if somebody grabbed my microphone out of its stand and unplugged it and smashed it against the ground and said, you can never buy another microphone and you can never talk into one ever again, I'd be like, oh well, okay, well I'll just my degree's almost done and I guess I'll just have to stop this whole podcasting thing and just move on with my life. Like, it's not like getting Pyrion Flax on the show means that I can eat dinner tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing like that.
I'm sorry, by the way.
You know how many nights we've gone hungry?
I'm so sorry. God.
It's nothing like that. Not that I wouldn't love for it to be like that, where taking that giant leap, which I've talked about it recently. Our numbers are getting to the point where we can see maybe in the future this becoming a thing that we can do to make money and all that. But even then, like, I'm still gonna get my master's degree.
Yeah,
like, exactly.
I mean, even if this
gotta have a fallback plan.
Like, even say you make that video and I'm all of a sudden Total Biscuit with 500,000 followers on Twitter. Like, I'm probably still going to pursue things that I want to pursue. Like I want to know more about physics. Like that's been a big dream of mine. Right now I'm focusing on communications for this podcast, but like I'm highly interested in mathematics and physics. And so if I were to have any success, it wouldn't be like I would still do other things. I guess is what I'm getting at. Sure. But I do love this.
Wait. So how old are you guys? You're like 20, 21, 22?
No, I am 24.
And I am 30.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes. So we've been into video games forever. I've been friends with Denny or Cyphus for many years. And we've had.
And your brother and I have been friends for even longer.
And my older brother, who is on the Monday show, he has his own show on the .p network, or Tuesday show. Sorry, we're the Monday show. We've just been doing it forever, and we've had a bunch of ideas. I would like to. This is an idea that we haven't told anybody, but we were going to make a drink called Coconut Ultra Mango.
No, I don't want to.
And it would come in loads. And so, if you think about Coconut Ultra Mango, what's the acronym for that? It's
I
CUM.
can't believe you told that joke.
Yeah,
on this show.
So Coconut Ultra Mango. We've had a lot of bad ideas before starting a good idea.
So, wait, are you guys sure you want to put that out there? Like copyright? Someone's going to snap that up.
No, they can have that bad idea. There's plenty of crumpled papers, thrown in the trash. It's
littered with them.
I had an idea in StarCraft to do like a bronze versus bronze tournament, and then a silver versus silver tournament, and of course it didn't happen. And that's the whole process of like starting anything artistic or creative is. You fucking fail, you fucking fail, you fucking fail, you see a little success, then you fucking fail, then you fucking fail, and then maybe you see some success eventually, maybe never. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm absolutely okay with that because, like, back to the hobby thing.
Well, what were you doing before Dota videos? Were you into content generation prior to Dota?
I used to play. I mean, I've always played games. I'm 39, right? So I've played games for fucking 36 years or whatever. Like but the first console I had was the Atari 2600, the wood panel thing with the cartridges and everything. Like I've been playing games forever. For like twice the age of a bunch of my audience I've been playing them. So I've always knew I wanted to do something to do with games, but the main thing I wanted to do was just play them. Like I wasn't good at computing, and I didn't want to have to start off as like a games tester or whatever to get into games design, and I didn't want to be an artist or anything. So I just kind of had a bunch of jobs, and then I was like I started off as a computer programmer, and that didn't work out. Like I'm terrible at maths, terrible. And all the other guys there were really good at maths. So I was like, this probably isn't for me. And then I worked in TV for a bit, and working in TV, unless you're really well connected or unbelievably backstabby, you're not going to make it in a lot of the bigger TV companies. So you have to work for the smaller TV companies. Money is terrible because everybody wants to work in TV, so that's kind of shitty as well. And then my wife and I had kids, so I was like, fuck it, you have a job, I don't. You keep the job, and I will look after the kids. And the thing is, when they're at school, I could play games and make videos, and then in the evening, they go to bed at like 7, so I'm up playing games until like midnight or 1 and making videos and streaming and stuff. So it worked for me and for us because it's actually turned into a proper job. Yeah. Like it's actually turned into something that I can do for a living. And mainly because of the things that came around it, like the announcer pack. I did an announcer pack for Dota. I think me and the Bastion guys were the first ones to do a pack outside Valve. Like they said to us, we want you guys to be the guinea pigs for this process because the Valve guys really liked my stuff. Like when I went out for TI3, they were like, you got to come visit. We'd love to meet you. I was like, really? So I went out
big
there.
Fanboys.
Like,
they are.
Yeah, no, they really are. Like they love the Dota scene. They watch everything.
They do.
People don't appreciate that. Like when you go to Valve HQ, if there's a tournament on, they are watching it. They're watching every cast. They watch streamers. They read the Dota subreddit. I think too much. Like they really.
Oh, you see changes implemented.
Like that, right?
Yeah, like
this
the low
boot
prio
is the wrong way
change.
around. Like boot fixed. Boot is the wrong way around. We'll fix it. No problem. It's like what do you guys read any other communities where you just like literally glued to just F5 and Reddit all day? I think that's what they do. But they watch the community like a hawk, right? Mm-hmm. So any video that gets anywhere reasonably big, they're all over it. So like SirActionSlacks, for instance, they really liked his stuff. and they have a real sense of humor. They're very funny guys. Like all the guys I've met at Valve are very funny,
Yes.
and they have a very cool attitude towards the community, and they really want to involve you. So they saw Slacks, and that's why they got him to do the Secret Shop preview video, because they were like, he would be perfect for
And he
this.
was.
So they sent him all that stuff, and they were like, just do a video about this. And he turned up with this video. It took him like 2 days, and I watched it there with them because I just happened to be visiting when they got it. And it was, I mean, their reaction was the same as my reaction. I was like, these guys are watching it as a fan would watch it.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's really cool. I talked to the guy who designed Oracle,
right.
yeah, and he was so proud. Like he thought it was a beautiful hero, and it was right before Oracle came out, and it was released, and I mean, I felt bad because Oracle just kind of was like, I don't understand it, fuck that hero.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand it, fuck that hero. And, you know, now I bet he's, like, gleefully happy when, like, I don't know, an Oracle picks up a moon shard. Have you seen how that looks? It's
No,
badass.
I haven't actually seen it. I haven't actually seen it.
I mean, it's...
We just won a game. Like, I was just playing this evening, and we won a game with Oracle. And at the end of the game, Magnus had an amazing game. The PA had a great game. I played Veno, and I got loads of kills. I went mid-Veno and everything. But the other team were like, fuck Oracle. Because despite what everybody else did, he's like my friend Sen plays Oracle, and he's incredibly good on Oracle. He's game winning, like genuinely. You don't appreciate half the stuff he's doing because it's not flashy. It just happens, and it'll turn a fight. It's like Dazzle is one thing. Everybody knows what to expect from Dazzle, but at 3K, Oracle is a complete mystery. I have no idea what that hero does. I still don't.
I heard a joke.
I've played with Sen playing Oracle like 30 times, and I'm like, I don't even know what this hero does now. I'm just like, oh, Sen, do something! And he's just like, whoa!
And he's just like, blah, 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 blah.
How did I live?
Yeah.
He's like, well, Oracle's a good hero. Like,
yeah. So this is funny. In a pub right before this, I literally played a game like 50 minutes ago, where there's this guy, he's just throwing out like really dry jokes, really dry Dota jokes. And one of them was, why can't Oracle foster a relationship? Because of too many false promises. And I was just like, I was like, dude, I literally just cringed. But hey, shout out to the guy who gave the Oracle joke.
I guess.
I guess it's a skill that Oracle does. I still don't understand it, but anyway, I shouldn't say that I talked to him.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fib. I heard through a person who is very close that he was very proud of Oracle, and when it came out, I was like, damn, that's a good-looking hero, but I still love Huskar because I can just throw these burning things at people, and then when I die, they die too, and so I'll keep doing that.
So, Pyrion, all right, I want to get into your history a little bit, because that's what we don't like to talk about Dota too much on the show, though It is a Dota podcast. So we know that you were born in England. The accent gives it away.
Right.
But you moved to the States. When did you move to the U.S.?
When I was a baby.
Oh, okay.
My dad was a computer programmer, and he worked for a big company over there. Well, they were a big company over there, but he was in the UK, and I think they were looking for programmers. And this would have been back in the 1970s, when people were sort of not really programmers, but there weren't many. So he was very good at maths, and he got into programming computers. Like, if you wanted to do it back then, it was like, oh, you're good at maths, Forsyth, you can be a computer programmer. Oh, yeah, I'll be a computer programmer. Like, that was it. And you just learned on the job, and it was very, you just had to be good at maths. Like, there were no languages. You just had to understand mathematics, and then you could do it. So he got a job over there programming, and we moved to New York, and we lived in Queens until I was 8. And he worked for a couple of companies out there, and then my parents got divorced, and my dad was like, maybe you guys should go back to the UK. And my mom was like, okay. So we moved back to the UK and lived with my grandmother for a bit, and then we got a house, and I grew up on the South Coast. It was completely different from New York. It was like a small seaside town, very quiet. It was mainly a retirement place for old people, so it was very peaceful. And I just kind of chilled out there. It was a good upbringing, really, honestly.
It sounds like it.
Did you go to college?
I did, yeah. I did. I actually met my wife where we were both 18 when we met, and then we did you do something called A levels, which are like, I don't know what we call it over there, but it's like basically a pre-degree qualifications that you get before you take a degree, and then you apply to a university with your grades, and they say, yeah, you're in, you're out, whatever. and we both did computing at the same university. And then she got a career out of it, and I got a career out of it. But mine kind of stalled because I was bad at it, and I hated it. Like, my dad told me, "You got to be a computer programmer," and I was like, "I want to do something else. I want to work at TV. I want to do something funny." He was like, "Nope, go into computing." I was like, "Okay." And I should never listen to him because it was a wasted 4 years of my life. My degree is just moldering away somewhere. I mean, it's worthless, absolutely worthless. I already loved computers. I didn't need to do a degree to learn any of the stuff I've learned about computers since then. It was all right, but it was kind of a waste of time. So
I felt about it. I did computer science for a while there.
It was just, I mean, honestly, I think the first job I got, this was the problem. I was working at a big company, and they hired people straight out of university. It was like a graduate program. And I was the only person out of the 20 people that they took in or so who had done a computing qualification. Everyone else was a mathematician, physicist. There was a guy who'd done food science. And his final thesis was ice cream. He had to make ice cream, but he was a brilliant programmer. Like, these guys were just super smart guys, and they could do it. And basic programming isn't really that hard once you understand the basics. So that was okay. But I have a terrible memory. I think I was actually hit on the head as a child. I actually think it might have hit me in the memory. Like, I would like to have a brain scan and it'd be like, no wonder your memory's so bad. There's a piece of bicycle implanted in it. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised. So that was that. And then I left that, and I spent a lot of time just going from sort of weird, shitty job to shitty job. But some of them were fun. Like, I was a movie reviewer for a while for this website. And I'd get sent lots of DVDs and go to screenings and stuff. Like, have you heard of the film Lady in the Water? It's like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, of
terrible.
course. Yes,
so I went to the premiere of that, and there was, like, the whole cast were there. I was on the red carpet with all the press, and I was just a guy writing for a website, and I was, like, interviewing M. Night Shyamalan and Paul Giamatti and stuff, just ask this question.
My God.
But I just did this in my spare time. I didn't get paid for it. I just got it entry to the movie. But I made friends with some other people there, and you learn little things like that. It's just fun. It's just weird life experiences that you don't plan for. And sometimes those are the ones that are the most bizarre, because it gives you like a view into another world that you didn't even know anything about. Like, I went out that afternoon before that and bought a dictaphone because I didn't own one. And all the other press guys were there, really, really, pressing a loads of questions. They were, like, really aggressive and everything. I was just, like, chilled out, asking questions because I had no stake in it. This wasn't my career. I was just doing it. And, like, I had an afternoon free, so I went to the court and watched this murder trial, like, unfold for, like, the afternoon. So I did all kinds of stupid shit like that. And then I started playing, oddly enough, I started playing EVE Online because a buddy of mine recommended I get into it. Which was a weird suggestion because it's a terrible game, and I played that.
I would agree.
I've actually gone back to it just because I thought it would be a fun thing to stream, but it's one of those games where it's very hard to actually do the fun stuff in the game, and that means that if you just want to have fun and kick around, it's bad for that. Like Dota, you can play Dota and you will be fighting at some point in Dota. You'll have those big moments in Dota. In EVE, you can play for a whole evening and fuck all happens. Nobody wants to fight you. Everybody. And you kind of think, well, I'm actually paying a subscription for this as well. That's the other thing. So I got into EVE, and I was in a corp for like 4 years, and I started making videos for them because they were like, because I like FC, so I was like the fleet commander for a lot of ops. So I'd log in, and loads of people would log in around that time to go on our ops because we'd always have fun and we'd have a laugh sort of thing. And I started making videos for them. They were very small, maybe a couple of hundred viewers or whatever. But I made a guide to EVE in MS Paint with Windows Live Movie Maker and Windows Recorder, like the sound recorder thing, and it was really big in the EVE community. Like, people still talk about it, people still know it in that community, which is bizarre to me. But it was just it was like my Dota guide, but for EVE. And then I stopped playing EVE, and my buddy that I used to play EVE with said, "You should play Dota 2. It's free." I was like, fucking sold. Let's do it. So I downloaded it. I started playing it on my laptop. Like, that's all I had. I didn't have a computer at that time. I had a laptop with my mouse, like, on a book on the sofa next to me. And he would be screaming at me on Teams, like, "Dude, what the fuck? Just started using your spells off." And I was like, my wife would she'd say, "I can hear him shouting at you. Are you sure you really want to do this?" This guy said, I was like, "No, it's my fault. I didn't order the juggle." But I was totally hooked. And I also realized that I wanted to make a guide to Dota that was similar to my guide to EVE, and maybe something would come of it. I literally made it for my couple of hundred subscribers. Like, it was just for fun. but it literally blew up. Like, people were going nuts about it. It was on the front page. My buddy posted it on Reddit, and he said, your guide to Dota's gone really big. It's like, really? Like, I didn't even use Reddit. I just looked at it. I was like, oh, shit. Like, that's crazy. I couldn't believe it. But I didn't think anything would come of it. I didn't know how YouTube worked. And I thought I was going to make, like, oh, my God, it's got 100,000 views. I'm going to make a fortune. But, of course, nobody makes money from ads on YouTube unless they're, like, the videos are getting millions of views because nobody fucking ad blocks, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like, I think for the average game-related video, you're looking at maybe 20% of the views are monetizable. The other 80% people ad block. Because who wants to watch adverts, right? So when they put a video out that's like an hour long or whatever, and there should be adverts at the start and there'll be adverts in the middle, like a TV show, you know, and then you get money for every one of those adverts. But if you use an ad block, the video just plays anyway. And it's always amazed me that YouTube hasn't put in place the whole thing that some websites have, where they say, it looks like you're using ad blocker. Why don't you turn it off to support the website, you piece of shit? And then they don't let you watch their content, and you're like, oh, I just wanted to watch it.
I mean, Justin TV had that before Twitch. I mean, I remember watching Day 9 on Justin TV, and it'd be like, please turn off this if you have this on, you know? And I never have used ad blocker. I'm really not that good at computers, so like I don't really know how. I probably would have installed one had I known how to.
All right, it's literally on the Chrome plugin store.
Oh,
like,
wow!
This is the crazy thing. Google are enabling people to stop them making money. I mean, if you want to think about how crazy this is, it would be like nuts. McDonald's allowing you to bring your own food in to the restaurant and just saying, go for it, dude. Yeah, that's fine. We have no problem with this.
It's crazier than that. Or Burger King opening in McDonald's.
Yeah, you literally go into Burger King with him. You're like, hey, what's up? Is this store? Oh, yeah, sure. No, absolutely no problem. We don't want to lose your custom. Because all these websites are terrified. There's no geographical tie to YouTube. It's not like my local superstore. Like, if there's a Walmart at the end of the road or whatever, they don't panic because what are you going to compete with Walmart? Like, you can't do that. They've proven that. But YouTube, someone else could start a website that does the same shit, and they allow ad blocker, and they start stealing views, and then it starts to gather momentum. And I think that's the great fear among websites. That's why Twitter, I mean, if you look at Twitter, it's an incredible platform that you can use for free. You may have to look at the occasional ad that is embedded, but, I mean, I use TweetDeck. I'm watching it all day, and I don't see adverts once. Not once. How the fuck are they making money? They're not, right? They just get venture capital people say, this is going to be huge. This is going to be absolutely huge. We're going to give you $500 million. We're going to value you at $2-3 billion. No problem. Where's the money? Where's the money? How are they
I give Twitter money. I'll be honest. Especially during the start of the podcast. I would, if I had an extra, $50 and there was a tweet that I wanted to boost, I'd spend $50 to boost that tweet.
Because but is that the only way that they're making money? You know what I mean? Like, it really can't.
Well,
be.
You see sponsored ads. I mean, and I'm sure that it's a basis of engagement, where an impression is a certain amount that the Burger King would pay for. An engagement would be a certain amount that Burger King would have to pay for if I engaged with said promoted tweet.
But at the same time, those companies that you would think would benefit from buying that ad space have the ability, once they establish their following, to just freely advertise just by sending out a tweet. If you want to look at
But I don't follow Burger King, for instance. So
who the fuck would follow Burger King?
I'm just saying.
Somebody
I'm just using as
Burger King.
I'm sure millions of people do.
Burger King's Twitter.
I'm sure
I bet
millions.
I bet they have 10 million followers.
I'm guessing over 10 million.
Burger King. They have 1.2 million.
Okay, 1.2 million.
Some of here's the people that follow Burger King, right? These are the three people that I follow that also follow Burger King. Team Coco, which is like, what's his fucking name? Jesus Christ. Conan O'Brien, right? His team, the team that make his web stuff, they follow Burger King. Skype, for some reason, Skype follows
Skype and Burger King are tight. I've known that for a long time.
A friend of mine called Pyronic X, he follows Burger King. I am ashamed.
But I'm saying, that's 1.2 million, right? Like, they have a way bigger customer base than 1.2 million. That's why they promote ads. And mega corporations like Burger King, McDonald's, Target, whatever the fuck, they're going to pay for those advertisements, even if they can advertise for free with their followers. Because I'm not following fucking Burger King. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe I'm going to.
I'm just saying, like, that's probably where Twitter makes their money. And they make money off of people like me that's like, oh, you estimate that 90 people will click on this if I give you $50? Really? 90 people? Okay, here's my credit card information. Make sure 90 people click on this. And of course, now we're realizing that, like, just crafting a tweet in a smart fashion using the right hashtags.
Well, really, not
is
even
the best way to get impressions.
But by a smart fashion, really, you just mean like sending out a tweet that people give a shit about,
and
like,
at a good time is what we're
starting
to learn.
Yeah, there are times like there's definitely like a whole marketing element behind it, but like at the end of the day, if you want to properly utilize Twitter, you need to tweet about something people give a shit about.
I mean, taking this full circle, going back to how we started, was I created a Twitter account, the .p_Roland account, and I went to Pyrion Flax, I went to Shiver, and I just went to people following you and followed them. Hundreds of them at a time, dude. Just follow.
Until Twitter asked you to not do that anymore.
And then Twitter banned my account and Twitter said, you can't do that. You can only add 30 people a day. And so then after that...
Wow, is that true?
That is. After appealing my account to get unblocked, and this is within a month of us starting, they granted my appeal. They gave me my Twitter account back. And so every day I'd go on and I'd follow like 10 from Pyrion Flax, 10 from Shiver, and then 10 from another person. And it would be my daily ritual. And that's how, literally people found us, was from me following them. Yeah. And maybe 5% followed back. And
it's weird.
That's such a clever American approach to it. Like, you guys are good at the whole footwork shit,
well, thank you for your fans.
Slack, for instance, Slacks will go out there, he'll be like, you gotta fucking work for it, boys. You gotta just put in the hard yards. Like, he's like a coach for some high school football team that never wins a game, but they never care. They got this great coach. But yeah, it's funny. Him to me, we've been talking mainly about how you get into it. So when I was talking about YouTube just then about how you don't make money from YouTube videos, you genuinely don't. What you do is when you grow the channel, the way you make money is the brand deals. And these are the things that have caused a bit of controversy because some people declare them and some people don't. So when people come to you and say, we love your channel, we're a shitty marketing company that's been given X thousands of dollars to promote this shitty game, so we're going to give you $3,000 to make a video about our piece of shit game. And you just have to put 2 videos out. They're going to be 30 minutes long. You're going to put them out on the 20th of November, and we'll give you $3,000 and tweet about it twice, and they'll give you $3,000. So that's way more than you'd make from ads on YouTube for like most videos,
which is what
for most people at our kind of level. But they still want it because to them, that's the real advertising. That's the actual advertising because people watch the videos, right? And they guarantee you watch the video. Putting an ad on, like a friend of mine started a company, and they said to me. They're one of those people that knows nothing about computers or the internet, but wants to be involved in it in a shit way, right? In a really shit, ham-fisted, half-assed way. They're like, I want to start an app. I've never done it before. I don't know anything about it. So I'm just gonna do it. I'm not even gonna do any research. But what I thought was, people watch adverts, so I bought a load of Facebook adverts, and nobody bought my product. I'm like, have you ever clicked the fucking Facebook?
No, and I never will.
No.
Exactly.
And I never will.
Who the fuck does that? Who the fuck does that? No.
People who follow Burger King. That's who does that.
I reckon if you found that 1.2 million people, that would be the entire population of people that ever clicked the Facebook advert in their life. Burger King. I love Burger King.
Oh my god, I had a Whopper just yesterday. I've got to follow these guys.
They send a tweet about a burger that's like something mind-blowing. But you know what? A friend of mine works for a production company. They make videos and stuff. So he makes videos like he makes fan videos, and they get approached by companies to make videos. And they do wedding videos and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking actual video production.
Is this where you did the video recently with the puppets? The puppets? Okay. What is the studio called?
K&K Productions.
K&K Productions, okay.
Yeah. I've realized now I can't actually tell the story. That's a shame.
Oh, that's a bummer. Well,
no, it's all right. Another buddy of mine, he works for this is a completely different person. A friend of mine works for a TV company, and he is involved in the marketing department, okay? He's like casually involved in the marketing department. He's like a contractor. So he was tasked with making these videos, and the way that the marketing people at this big company pitched it to him were, we want this to go viral. Like that was a button that you pushed.
Oh, super easy. You want a viral video? Okay, yeah.
Viral.
Easy to do.
Yeah. Let me break out the viral editing software.
Well, you're going to need 3 things for a viral video.
As if that's not the deep requirement. We posted videos, man, I hope this goes viral. They're like, we want this to go viral. We'll put money on it. Oh, okay, yeah, that's how it works. And we'll put it out on this. Like, it would be like Burger King tweeting a video and hoping it goes viral. Nobody's gonna fucking retweet Burger King's advert. Like, hashtag viral. You know, that's the kind of shit they put. Like, that'll encourage you. We'll put hashtag viral because I bet that's how. The videos that go viral are the ones that people are like, what the fuck is this? Or holy shit, this is bizarre. Something completely unexpected. Not Burger King or a big TV company or a big company putting out a video in the hope it goes. I guess my mind how little people actually understand the internet. So,
and how little people understood what you just said. Unfortunately, you were cutting out a little bit. So for people listening to this, for the past minute, it was real. It's basically the understanding that we have toward people following Burger King is what you just said for the past minute. Well, but unfortunately,
I also have to disagree with you because Burger King sent out a tweet about their Snickers cream pie. And that thing's got 122 retweets.
Whoa! I've never had 122 retweets. And Burger King can make a fucking snickerdoodle pie.
Bad? Is it still bad? My connection?
Oh, it's better now. Oh, yeah, it's better. It was unfortunate that you were coming in and out during that, and it was like, oh damn, a good diatribe that has to be has to cut in and out.
And then you won't believe what happened next.
That's what.
Unbelievable.
So I do want to get into YouTube with you for just a second before we close the show. We had Sunsfan on recently, and he does the Dota 2 fails videos and Dota Cinema and whatnot, a co-owner. And he was talking about how YouTube isn't profitable because amount of minutes watched.
And that YouTube Red is now really hurting subscribers as well. I mean, are you seeing some of that?
I have nothing to do with YouTube Red, I don't think.
Okay.
I may have. I don't know. Like, I sign up through like the main way I make money is Twitch, right? And events.
Yeah.
So Twitch is really good because you get subscribers. And people subscribe because they get little perks and bonuses, and you play games with subscribers and stuff.
And they interact with you. They're with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A video, I don't understand. I guess people subscribe to support the channel or something. Like, the ways you make money, in my opinion, are Patreon, because then people can support you directly, and you actually have rewards. It's like a Kickstarter, basically, like an ongoing thing. So people give you Patreon money every month in the assurance that you're going to make a video every week or something like that. And if you give me this much, I'll put you in a video. You can play a game with me. You know, people do that kind of stuff. I haven't gone down that road because I feel like I'm doing okay as it is, and I don't want to seem like a greedy piece of shit. So I'm happy with the way things are. If I stopped getting any kind of work on the scene and I didn't get invited to events and stuff, which could completely happen, people might just say, we're going to hire this guy instead. And then because they're hiring that guy, other events hire that guy. And that's how you end up sort of finished. Like, there are lots of people in Dota 2. You're going to tell me if I keep that out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're good. You've been good.
Oh, yeah. You're fine.
So people hire someone for an event, and then other events hire that person because they got hired for that event. So it's a bit like you become that guy, and other people are like, oh, we'll get that guy. Like, so most people don't know what the fuck they're doing when they hire talent. So once you start making an impression at one event, you get hired for other events. Like, that's pretty much how it's gone for me. So people don't seem to have noticed yet that I have no idea what I'm doing. But once they figure that out, right, then they'll find someone else who's, you know, does the same thing but better. Like, that's always going to happen.
Sure.
And then you have to think about other ways to make money. So, I mean, I think, like, my stream and the viewers that I built up there and the guys that I know a lot of the names, and I see them all the time. They know when I stream, and it's like a consistent connection. And I really enjoy it. We have, like, lots of, you know, memes specific to that chat that come out of it, and loads of jokes and stuff. And also, you can then take that video, you can put it on YouTube for people to watch, and it's a lot of fun. Like, it's the most fun. If you're just recording videos by yourself, it's kind of a lonely existence. Or, I mean, you have to be like one of those people that doesn't mind just playing videos by themselves, playing games by themselves, making videos about it, putting them out. Like, I like to play games with people. Like, I love multiplayer gaming. The moment it came out, like, broadband internet, I was all over it. I was like, this is the fucking future. Why would I ever play single player ever again?
Oh, yeah.
And almost all the games I play are multiplayer. Because losing to people doesn't feel like it's bullshit. It feels like you got outplayed.
Yeah.
And beating people means you outplayed them. It wasn't some hole in the game that you...
Yeah.
If a level's hard, that's bullshit. That level is hard. That's bullshit. Right. But if, like, and you still hear, especially from my brother, that certain heroes are bullshit when he loses in Dota. But no, he just got outplayed like that. You're absolutely right there. I disagree with Broadband. I think it was before that when linking up consoles. Like that was my first experience of having like a true. But I guess
that kind of came about the time of Broadband.
I guess I was doing Command and Conquer.
I mean,
online
the biggest
at that
like
same time. So.
the biggest multiplayer, or maybe the most accessible multiplayer experience or earliest accessible multiplayer experience I can remember, is probably the 2-player like fighting console games.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That's where you could fight against
Street Fighter.
in Mortal Kombat.
Where you would go over to your buddy's house and you'd play Street Fighter, and
of course.
And you would pass the controller to your next friend if you lost, and if you won, you got to hold on to the controller type thing. Yeah. and
everybody knew that system.
And that's why you looked forward to Friday night when you could go do that. And now I just kind of take it for granted is that like. I just log on like, oh my god, 4 minutes to find a game with 9 other people around the world. I have to wait 4 whole minutes. This is bullshit. These queue times.
When people complain, they're like, "Oh, the servers are down for 10 minutes." Oh, this is unbelievable. I'm like, do you have any idea how lucky we are in terms of gaming? Like, I know that doesn't mean that it can be shit. Like, let's make it as good as we can. I get it, but the stuff you're moaning about. They're like, I didn't like the new expansion for World of Warcraft or whatever. I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't play World of Warcraft anymore, but I can still look at it and say that this was the game when I was 13, I used to dream about.
Oh,
games.
Yeah.
And I'd be like...
And I was 13 when it came out, and it was the game that I dreamed of and got to play
I mean, I was playing on the Commodore 64 back then, and we were talking about... We were saying, what's going to happen one day is you're going to be able to play games against people across the other side of the world, and we were like...
Bullshit.
Maybe it'll never happen. We were still, like, if you wanted to play multiplayer on a Commodore, you had to share a keyboard. Like, so one of you would have to be keyboard, and one of you had to use a joystick. It was like that. And now, I mean, I can log in and get a game in like 3 minutes with people all over the world. It's insane.
Or when your game fails, and then it's at the top of Reddit where it's like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times my game failed. It took me literally 7 to 10 minutes to find a game with people and it's just like, what? Like, who cares?
We get very used to the sort of privileged sort of level that we're at for games. And the weird thing is, like, one of the things I did when I went to TI4 and TI5 was what I think is going to be the next thing, and a lot of people are saying it, is the VR stuff that's coming out. Everybody's making a big push for it. And, everybody made a big push for VR in the 90s. Like, there were a load of companies shitting money at VR, and it was awful because the hardware wasn't there to support it.
Nope.
But I'm telling you what, the stuff that they've got out now, like the Valve stuff, the Vive, and all these other things, like the Oculus Rift and everything, it is genuinely...
It's what we thought it was going to be 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's mind blowing.
It's gonna be crazy.
When you're in it, like I tested the very first sort of early version where you had QR codes all over the walls, and now the one they got where you have held controls and the screen, and it's 2 little discrete sort of sensors bars and everything. It's amazing. It is amazing, and I just think people aren't quite ready for how much of a new sort of dawn, if you like, of gaming it really is going to be. Because all the guys making this hardware said to me, we have no idea what people are going to make with this. And internet gaming, we kind of had an idea that we're going to make the same kind of games, but on the internet. But then along came a whole bunch. I mean, Dota, for instance. Nobody envisaged Dota until internet gaming became a thing. You couldn't imagine a game 5v5 that was like exactly like Dota, because there wasn't anything like it. There were no games like it.
No.
So there will be games in VR that we have not even anticipated that could be a thing.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion pornography will be one of those things we see in VR.
I'll be honest with you. That was the first question I asked. I said, you guys realize this is going to be used for porn, right? And they're like, we're prepared for that eventually. Someone's going to come out with a full body suit. Like, they've got that now, but now it's literally VR. I mean, it's pretty fucking real in there. There's some guys are never going to leave their apartment.
Are you a virgin still, is the question. I mean, if it gets real enough, are we just going to, are you a virgin?
Do we have time for this philosophical debate?
No, we do not.
We do not. All right, well, we're gonna close out the show. Pyrion, thanks for coming on the show. It's been a blast having you, and I hope we get to have you back sometime because you're a funny man.
Anytime. You guys are great. Good talking to you. Thank you very much.
So if you guys want to find Pyrion Flax, he's on Twitter @Burger King.
At Burger King. He is constantly posting new delicious treats.
Yeah, he's on the cutting edge of fast food artisan.
Try our new apple pie.
The apple pie is delicious, I have to say.
But no, you can actually follow him on Twitter at Pyrion Flax. That's PYRIONFLAX. And his YouTube is youtube.com/Ted himself. Definitely check those out. You've got the Game Britannica, the Heritage coming up, right?
Yeah, that's next weekend. So that's like a university LAN in the UK, and I'm casting that. I haven't met those guys yet, but they seem like nice guys. And then in March, the big event we've got, me and my buddy Shane are doing a LAN in London, and that is going to be streamed on Twitch, and that's going to be something special. So you'll hear more about that. You'll hear more about that in the coming months.
Is that Shane Ahmad?
That is Shane. It's my boy Shane.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And, everybody's going to be there. Flax is going to be there. Blitz is going to be there. Purge is going to be there. Cap, like OT, Shiva, everybody. It's going to be fucking amazing.
That sounds like a good time.
Nice.
Well, yeah, and if you guys want to find the stream, that's twitch.tv/Pyrion Flax as well. If you guys want to find us, we are at @P_show. You can find us on defenseofthepatients.com, of course. Search Defense of the Patients on iTunes, Stitcher, all your favorite podcast apps. Email us at defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. And more reviews, more emails.
Yeah, we'll start reading the reviews.
We're gonna get back to them. I swear, guys. I swear.
We're
good. You know, how do you do it when you have good guests on? I don't think you can.
You just read it usually, but I mean, we just kind of haven't in a while. But we will do that. I promise.
Yeah, it's coming up. So, Pyrion, again, we thank you for coming on the show. And until next time, this is Cyphus for Roland and Pyrion Flax saying good luck and Godspeed.
Who the fuck would follow Burger King?